Why would you want to turn your hobby into a business? Stay tuned and find out.
Welcome.
Okay, here's the question.
You serious?
How are we dark horses? You know, the ones everyone is betting against, the ones they don't expect to win, place, or even show on the track, and they'll even laugh on us when we talk about trying. How do we show the world our greatness and triumph?
Come on.
Well, that's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers.
Let's go.
This is The Dark Horse Entrepreneur. My name is Tracy Brinkman.
And push it out.
What is up? What is up? What the hell is up, my dark horse friends and family? Welcome back to your daily dose of hobbyist to entrepreneur learning. I'm your dark horse host, Tracy Brinkman, and you? Well, that, my friend, is infinitely more important. You are a driven entrepreneur or one in the making. Either way, you're here because you're ready to start, restart, kickstart, or just start leveling up with some great marketing, personal, or business tips and results in order to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it absolutely deserves to be. And that's why I'm here hitting you with yet another Daily Success episode coming to you straight from the Dark Horse HQ as we dive deep into success with actionable advice, tips, and steps to help you level up your game, because as we already know, there are no shortcuts to success except for taking those little steps towards your goal every single day. Now, as always, before we kick this off, I know you want to keep getting all these daily success tips, so make sure you go down there, hit that subscribe button, and while you're there, drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us some kind words in the reviews. Heck, drop some words in the reviews of suggestions. Hey, here's an episode I'd like to hear you talk about. Here's a person I'd like to hear you interview. Whatever it is, trust me, I read every single one of those reviews. And these subscribes, ratings, and reviews tell those podcast platforms out there to lift us up a little bit in the rankings so that we can reach more driven entrepreneurs just like yourself. So I'm going to assume you're giving the value. And if you are, please take a moment, show the love, and help spread the word. I appreciate you. Now, on Monday, backwards at episode 187, Mr. Tom Antion just delivered so many amazing entrepreneurial value bombs on us in that show. And if you haven't listened to that show, please go back and listen to it. It's episode 187 with Tom Antion. He delivered so much value from his quarter century of business knowledge, most of it on the internet. And one of the great things he dropped in there spawned this episode, which was turning your hobby into a legitimate business and reaping the rewards that come from that. So let's say, for example, you enjoy golfing, right? And you want to go out and you want to golf. So what if you turned your hobby of golfing into a little business, right? Create yourself a little website, get yourself a little business license. That way, anything having to do with your golfing now is a business expense. And, hobbies aren't generally money making, and they're not about making you successful like businesses are. Hobbies are more like they put that smile on your face at the end of a long day or a long week. Maybe they're something where you escape into. They tend to show off things that you have an interest in, things you have a passion for, things you have a love for, right? Be it baseball or golf or drawing or public speaking. But here's the question, right? What if you could turn that hobby into an actual business? How amazing would that be, right? Because you've heard me say it time and time again, right? Do work you love. Be yourself. Whatever business events you embark upon, it should be about that passion. But businesses require more than passion. The business, world can be a bit it's cutthroat, right? And you got to get in there with some careful planning and commitment. And if you put that passion for your hobby and throw in a little business planning, well, you could shift your mindset from a hobbyist to an entrepreneur, couldn't you? And even if you don't do it as I'm going to make thousands of dollars a month business, you can certainly turn it into a business that will enable you to reap the tax benefits. Right now, again, I'm no tax lawyer. You're going to want to check with your accountant and what have you. But, based off the questions I have asked thus far, seems like an awesome opportunity. And Tom's been doing it for a quarter century, so there's that, right? But I think the first thing you're going to want to ask yourself is, how far do you want to take it? Do you just want it to continue to be your free, spirited, loving hobby? Or do you want to go full on business mode, right? You want to go entrepreneurial gangster on this thing. And either one of those goals are going to require an entirely different path. Some of the steps involved in both paths would be the same, but at some point they're going to veer off and go separate paths. And so if you just want to be a little side hustle, that's cool, right? If you just want to be able to expense that hobby into a legitimate business platform, that's one. But if you want to go balls out, full on entrepreneurial gangster, well, then you're going to be traveling a bit of a different road. So you'll want to know where you want to go. This comes back to that goal setting episode we talked about, right? You want to have that vision for what you want it to be, and then you can start reverse engineering back into it. Now, either way, I think on both paths, one of the things you're going to want to do is brainstorm some ideas of how you could turn the hobby into a business. Perhaps you have this love for drawing. For art in general, right? And so you go back to the drawing board, no pun intended, and you start honing your skills. But if you think about it, in the world of drawing, whether that's drawing or painting or charcoal or, metal sketching, any kind of art form, you could have different business mechanisms. Let's say maybe you could go from the creator of a piece of art, which is one avenue. And remember, we talked to Vera Lee Chernow a couple of weeks ago, and that's one of the things she does. But maybe you could shift that into being a distributor of art, right? You find pieces of art and sell those pieces of art for a profit. Maybe you find odd, obscure pieces and you turn around and auction or sell those off. Remember, we had Christina on the show a few months back, and that's what she did early on in her career. So there are a number of different ways. I think these ways will only be limited by your creativity. And maybe as you start one, you might find an opportunity you didn't even think about, right? You get in, you start selling your pieces of art, and you find matching pieces of art. So now you're selling someone else's, and then it turns into something else as it grows into this business venture of its own. And the next tip I want to give you is, no matter which venture you want to go down, I think the first thing you're going to do is practice. I mean, it's a hobby, right? You've been doing it a bit, and if you want to turn it into even a hobby level business or a real full-on entrepreneurial gangbusters kind of business, you're going to want to practice it more. And you may practice even more as a result of being able to have those costs deferred into your business expenses. But either way, you're going to want to take up the practice of practicing, because maybe one of the avenues you say is, I want to show people how to do different things. So in the world of art, maybe it's how to do this kind of painting, or how to do that kind of drawing, or how to do that kind of pencil sketching. And you're going to want to hone some skills to do those how-tos, and then you can sell those how-tos back out to the folks. So you always remember, practice makes perfect. And I don't know if it's practice makes perfect. Practice definitely makes better. And as you've always heard me say, right, you don't have to be miles ahead of somebody to be able to impart knowledge upon them. You just need to have one unique angle, or maybe be a few steps ahead of them. And as you continue to practice, you can continue to stay a few steps ahead of your audience or your tribe, and continue to share the knowledge you have and the knowledge you just learned, as well as knowledge you need to gain. And then finally, as with any business, you want to look for that first sale, right? And it'll be that first sale that will fire you up, make you get up, take the next step, and repeat. And if you're out there and you're putting your content out there, and you're putting your message out there, and you're putting your hobby / business out there, and you're not getting a sale, maybe it's time to step back and say, okay, wait a minute. Is there really a market for this? All right. Is it my message, or is it my product, or whatever? If I think my message is okay, is it getting to the right people? Right? You don't want to be putting out artsy fartsy messages to hardcore headbangers. The market for that is very small, right? And you don't want to be putting out hardcore headbanger message to people that enjoy the easy listening sound of the 50s. There's a disconnect of the message. So review that. And it doesn't really matter, I think, where that first sale comes from. It could come from a neighbor, right? It could come from a sibling, right? It could come from a loved one, childhood friends, those folks that just say, hey, I'm going to buy this just to support them. That energy that you'll get from that sale will motivate you to the next one. And again, it really comes back to the question I asked you earlier. Do you want to make this kind of a tax deferring hobby opportunity, or do you want to make this a hobby into a revenue generating opportunity? And if you want to turn it into a revenue generating opportunity, then if that first sale is not coming, then you want to go back and look at your planning, your idea, your execution, and try to work the kinks out of the system that you're using. And that system just could be, this step, 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, right? Or maybe even reach out and recruit someone who's got a mindset for marketing, whatever it is that you're doing, and get their ideas into the mix and sort them out. But man, I'm telling you, once you get that first sale, you are well on the road to turning your hobby into that legitimate business you may be looking for it to be. And I think last but not least, as with anything else in the world, you want to be consistent. And especially if you're doing something like, jumping off the cliff and growing wings on the way down. If you decide, what, I'm going to quit my cubicle space and I'm going to start pursuing this as my new revenue generating opportunity. Really not. Well, you just kind of made your choice then, didn't you? You're going to want to make sure you put in the effort, put in the work. I know I just did a little spoof video on my Facebook Lives. If you want to have rock star results, you're going to have to put in rock star hours. And you can ask the rock stars. They put in some hours, and especially in the beginning, right? You're not going to be, doing your 8-hour day. You'll probably be spending 8, 10, 12-hour days in the beginning to get that momentum going. It's like pushing a car, right? You're going to put in that extra effort to get that car moving. And once you do, you can put in a little less effort just to keep it going. But man, once you stop, then you got to work it all over again, right? So you don't want to do that. So put in that time consistently and you can't go wrong. And even if you're picky about when you work, right? You can pick your hours when you work. I want to work early in the morning and leave my days open to do the hobby that I'm trying to turn into a business, right? But you're going to have to put in the work, be tough on yourself, maybe even get yourself a coach until you can start seeing those results and those profits. All right. Now, tomorrow on the live episode, we're going to talk about email, the one ring to rule them all. Yeah. My J.R. Tolkien friends' ears just perked up, right? All right, my Dark Horse friends and family. Once again, I know you want to keep getting all these daily success tips, so be sure you go on down there, hit that subscribe button while you're there. Yeah, that 5-star rating and those kind words in the reviews, those subscribes, ratings, reviews are going to tell those podcast platforms out there that you're getting the value and lift us up in the rankings so that we can reach more driven entrepreneurs just like yourself. So please take a moment, show the love, and help spread the word. Then come on over and join us in the Facebook group. There's going to be a link right down there in the show notes. Go ahead and click that. That will take you straight over there. I look forward to jamming with you inside the Facebook group, along with the other driven entrepreneurs. We can get together and connect with each other on a more intimate level. Plus, you'll be there available to ask questions live when I do the live episodes via StreamYard in the Facebook group. All right, you get out there, you run your race, you get your results, and come on over to the Facebook group and tell me about them. That way I can celebrate with you. Till tomorrow, think successfully and take action.
Thank you for listening to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
Did you know this?
Thanks for tuning in.
Check us out at www.darkhorseschooling.com.
All right.
My name is Tracy Brinkman.